once again host an edition of the podcast entitled Life Notes with Dr. Wilkins. I am a licensed marriage and family therapist and coach who has been hosting a series of discussions with women from all walks of life who are navigating life in unique and impressive ways. The theme of this life note is single, growing, and thriving. It features Black women who are above the age of 40 and have curated lives that defy the myth that to be grown and single equates to unhappiness. I am very excited to introduce today's guest. Her name is Daris Frencha, who identifies as being resilient, optimistic, and ambitious. Okay, Daris, welcome.
Oh, thank you, Dr. Wilkins. I definitely appreciate this opportunity. I'm nervous and excited all at the same time, but I believe in divine appointment, and what's going to happen here today is meant to be for us and everyone that's listening or watching. So
Yes,
thank you for
you're
your
welcome.
leadership.
Thank
Thank you.
you. I am touching and agreeing with that. So yes, divine appointment. So let's get into it. Resilient. Why do you identify as such?
Resilient because I was a teenage mother, 17 years old. Um, And the average person I know wouldn't be where I am today. Like real talk, right? South side of Chicago, raised in the projects. We moved out, got middle class, got a house. I still had a baby, finished school, started my business a few years after that, relocated, left Chicago. It's so funny how people are like, you just gonna move to Texas? How you gonna do that? I'm like, I'm gonna rent a truck and I'm gonna put my shit in it and I'm gonna drive, right?
Yes.
Started a business in a whole new area where I didn't know anybody, cold market. First entrepreneur, come from a blue collar family, but thank God I was always told I don't say what you can't do, focus on what you can do. And everything else that happens in life, losing people, two marriages that didn't work, and raising young Black men, trying to set an example, and to still end up on that optimistic as the second word.
Yes.
I feel like, yeah, I've been very resilient through some things that a lot of times a lot of people don't make it through.
Yeah, that's amazing, Doris. And like you just zoomed right through it. And so we gonna dig because 17 and you gave birth to your first child or your own first and only?
My first child, I was 17. I
Yeah,
had a second child 10 years later because that was real birth control for me. Like, ooh, we're not gonna do this again.
like I'm stepping out. Um, yeah, so 17. What did you have to overcome to get to yeah. What did you have to overcome?
Um, just the heart. Well, I will say, let me back up. My mama was my backbone. I thank God that she loved children. She did have an in-home daycare. Okay. So I have never had my children in daycare. My mom took care of them and raised them. But just the being a single mom, wanting to go out to the parties, but now you gonna it was daycare, it wasn't night care. Let's be clear. So she did help a lot. And I did get to go out still, but just being 17-year-old mom, period. Like not knowing what to do, trying to do your best, having to sacrifice, and I don't want to say there's any regret in it at all, because obviously going back to divine appointment, that was my story. That is how I am who I am today. And I can say, being optimistic about it all, my child gave me my drive. Like we not gonna be average. We made this decision, but we're gonna still have an amazing, incredible life. It does not, but it did take a while for me to forgive myself, because I was like, oh my gosh. So forgiving myself for having a baby at the age of 17, putting myself and my family in that stereotypical category. And I think I beat myself up on that for much longer and harder than anybody else was, right? And being able and being proud that I still made it, right? Because I will tell you, like I said, that was one. It took one for me to realize, okay, let's stay on point. we don't need no more, okay, until 10 years later. But I went back to school, the single mom, the wanting to have a normal lifestyle, um, having relationships. I did choose some of my early relationships out of lack of confidence because I was like, I need a man in the house. So my first couple of relationships, I was choosing them to have this complete look, that this is we complete,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. But it wasn't in hindsight, it wasn't for love. It was for what it looks like, for trying to, again, not forgiving myself for being a teenage mom and wanting to create this Huxtable look. But it was just a look because at the end of the day, I was picking the person for the wrong reason, just to fill that gap in a man being in the house versus somebody that's going to love me and my son. If
Mm-hmm.
that makes sense.
Yes, that makes a lot of sense. And I don't think
Yeah.
you're alone in that. And so I think that we're right now talking about the growing part.
Mm-hmm.
And so your village showed up, your mom, appropriately assisted with
Yes.
appropriate boundaries.
Yes.
Was fine. Um, and then I'm wondering how you grew and shifted into a place of forgiving yourself. What had to happen?
That's been recent, honestly, Dr. Wilkins. It's been very recent in the last few years. Because there was always this nagging, like, am I enough for my son, right? And then am I making the right decisions? And it's not giving myself grace, right? And I learned that after I lost my brother unexpectedly and was in therapy. And my therapist like, give yourself grace.
Mhm.
The self-criticism is real. And it would always amaze me, like, people, I've had the village, like you say, people supporting me, from my mom, from friends, from business opportunities, and everybody's like, oh, Daris, you're absolutely amazing. And I still had guilt, like, I'm all right.
Mhm.
Why don't we celebrate ourselves, right?
Mhm.
Why don't we acknowledge that the greatness and acknowledge um how much we've done, give the grace. That's the best way I could say it. And then what I learned too is that I was spending a lot of time with negative self-talk. It can look great, right? Absolutely, from the outside, the accolades, the accomplishments, and all of that. But I didn't give myself that
Mhm.
credit and that grace. And that I wanted to say about, like, the one of the something I learned in therapy really recently. This negative self-talk. Because mine had a good, and I'm sure you know this, right? In speaking and your own education and background with therapy and how we talk to ourselves. My therapist had one thing. We would be talking and she would say, well, when you were feeling that way, what did you say to yourself? And I would repeat what I said. And she was like, well, would you say that to a girlfriend? And I was like, I sure wouldn't.
Yep. Yep. It's the conditioning. Yeah,
Yeah.
I think it's the conditioning of historical conditioning of Black women in this country in terms of the myth of our inferiority. And so
Mm,
when things come along that can, like, feed on that myth, then
yeah.
it's way too easy for us, if unchecked, for us to jump through that and to, like, wear that. And it's like you were wearing that first pregnancy like a scarlet letter, when in reality, it sounds like that was an integral part of what makes you great.
Yeah, the blessing in disguise, right? Because I kind of think about it like, I might have been, who knows what kind of decisions I might have been making if I didn't have a whole family and somebody else to consider. But then now that we're thinking about it and talking out loud, that's not even healthy for me to say to myself, right? Because that could be self-deprecating in itself. What happened happened, right? I would have been absolutely amazing, God willing, and with my own decisions, but I don't want to take it away. Like saying, "Oh, I needed that baby," or I would have been out here in them streets. No, there's a balance, right? It was a blessing in disguise. And the biggest part now is like, baby, I'm young enough and healthy enough. Them kids grown.
You're outside. You're outside now.
Okay, with money, with
Yes.
freedom.
Yes. Yes.
Right?
I love it. I love it. And it's why I think part of the Black story is the fact that our adversity, like,
Mhm.
we use it and like reconfigure who we are into like we level up. That's been consistent across the interviews, is that our adversity causes us to level up.
Yes. Yes,
Yes.
ma'am. The older I get, the more I realize, like all of the cliches and stuff we used to use when you're younger, if it don't kill you, it make you stronger. Baby,
Yes.
the things that I have endured and had to overcome, strength. That's when character is made.
Yes.
So if you're not having any adversity, I I would rather have an adversity to grow than it's just to be mediocre.
There you go. There you
That part, right? So I
go.
think that goes back to like the optimism, being appreciative and seeing the greatness and the goodness in everything. And because I think everybody can relate to this, when we're going through something, it seemed like the darkest, horrible, most, oh my God, I can't get through this. And then you look back on it, it's like, oh, that wasn't even that much. Come on now.
And it prepares you every time you go through something. It prepares you
Yes.
to have more wisdom and faith in being able to navigate the next.
Mhm.
And
Mhm.
you started off talking about the idea that everything is in divine order. Everything
Yes.
is in
I
divine
definitely believe that.
order.
I definitely believe that. And there's going to be ebbs and flows. Flow with it. Let's go.
There you
Let's
go.
go.
There
I
you go.
definitely learned that when I lost my brother unexpectedly. That life is going to come. It's life, right? And we can get through more. We're stronger than we ever think.
Mm.
We are stronger. And giving ourselves grace, knowing something. My grandmother, her favorite thing when I was younger, I get it now that I'm almost 50, fine, 50. This too shall pass.
You say you're almost 55.
I'm 49, baby.
Yes,
Yeah.
Melanin. Yes.
Yes.
Hmm.
This too shall pass, man. Whatever. If it don't kill you, it's to make you stronger.
That's right.
If it's gonna make you or break you, and I'm gonna be made every time.
Yeah.
Now, I have been in depression. I have been through all that, needed therapy, and not saying that therapy is bad. Can I just stop on that right
Okay,
there?
so yay
You
therapy. Yes. Yes.
listen,
Mm-hmm.
Black folks, therapy is healthy.
Tell them.
Therapy is good. It is not. It do not be shamed about against the idea.
Yes.
Okay. And don't wait until there may be some true, I don't know the right words to say, Dr. Wilkins. Be preventative about it. Take your
Mhm.
mental health like when as much as proactive as you are when you want to be physically fit. You make a choice. When you decide you're gonna be healthy, you might say no to that piece of cake, but you'll eat and you'll eat your fruit, right? You're being proactive about it. Talk to somebody. It does not have to be life altering for you to go see a therapist.
Mm.
It could just be dealing and coping with daily life. And there's nothing wrong with that. I
Yes.
think that's what I was sent here to say today.
Mm.
Because having a good therapist was so therapeutic,
Mm.
so life-changing. I learned about myself, who I am, how I talk to myself, how to cope with stress,
Mm.
how to cope with grief. Okay, here's another one. And grief is not just the loss of a person. It could be a loss of a job that you really wanted,
Yeah.
or a business not going in the direction that
Yep.
you wanted to, right? It could be relocating and having to go through the transition,
Mm.
right? And not having that familiarity. All of that impacts us, our energy, how we think, how we move, how we flow.
Facts.
And it's okay.
Facts. Facts.
Talk to somebody
Facts.
professional, okay?
Yeah.
Not just
I mean,
not just a
talk to
girlfriend.
exactly. Talk to your trusted people, wise,
Exactly.
grounded people in your village, but also you deserve a good therapist that you click with.
Yes.
And so, what I
Yes.
say to clients, and especially us, I say we deserve therapy. All of the trauma, the microaggressions on the job, you know, the dating as a Black woman. We gonna get into
Mhm.
dating, Doris. So get your mind. Uh,
Hello, that part.
you know, walking.
The centuries of oppression that has been passed down.
That's right.
Baby.
You deserve therapy. Shoot, that should be part of reparations. But
It's
should be part of reparations.
hello.
Yeah.
It
So
is
shifting a little bit.
okay, girl, because I could, yeah, we
Single.
could, yeah.
Yeah. Where are you at? You say you've been married twice.
Say it again. Where am I there?
You said you've been married twice, and so
Yeah,
you're
I've been married twice and divorced twice.
okay. Okay.
And
And
got
so
two kids.
yeah, think about the number two. Yeah.
Okay, after two, I'm like, no,
Yeah.
but no, I'll take that back. Go ahead. Let me
To you
let you ask.
today, and from my experience, divorce is one of the hardest. Divorce, it feels like divorce and death are two of the hardest things that folks can experience in their lifetime. And
Yeah,
as you stated a few moments ago, divorce is a type of loss, real
yeah.
talk, type of
I can
grieving.
grieve a relationship.
And I'm looking
Absolutely.
at you today, March 2024, and you look vibrant and happy and whole. And so, sis, how have you come to be through the tribulations of it all?
Oh goodness. So I will say, I'm going to go back to the optimism, which I believe is deeply rooted in the fact that I believe in the law of attraction and practice gratitude.
Mhm.
And on the darkest day, there
Mhm.
is something always to be grateful for.
Mhm.
And I'll throw a little recommendation, this book called The Magic by Rhonda Byrne.
Okay.
It teaches you to be grateful for water. Okay. There are so many things that we take for granted. There's air that we don't even have to think about. There's abundance, and there can be abundance in every area of our life if we're already grateful for the little things that can move us up to the bigger things. There is a higher power that I am daily, whatever you want to call it. I'm not going to even get into names and all of that, but there is a higher source of energy that I'm a microcosm of. And if there was a creator that created this planet and created life as we know it, I can create the life that I want. And I remember this. Nothing happens to me unless I allow it to happen,
Mm.
right?
Mm.
I there's divine appointment, but there's also us taking some responsibility and driving them appointments kind of where we want them to be so that we can attract the who's and the what's and the resources into our life to create the life of our dreams. So I'm always thinking, I do vision boards. I'm looking at my vision board every time I look up. I'm keeping in front of me what I want to create
Mhm.
with my higher power. Now, don't get me wrong. I don't want to be like, oh, Doris got all this, because now the therapy thing, Doris, I can't control all of this, right? I can only control certain things, right? And not even those things.
Mm. Mm. Mm.
But I'm going with the flow, with the expectation and anticipation of complete abundance in every area of my life.
That's
So the
beautiful.
short answer, I have practiced gratitude. I meditate. I take time by myself. People think that extroverts. I know I'm an extrovert, and I have come off and bring a whole bunch of energy, and I love that. But then there will be times I'm not going to answer the phone or return a
Right.
text
That's right.
message.
Mm-hmm.
So I think the gratitude, the meditation, the taking time for myself, learning how to say no as a complete sentence,
Hmm.
um, not trying. One of my issues was okay, so everybody, I try to, my issue was with the pregnancy, teenage pregnancy, thinking about how people looked at me or perceived me. And everybody like, Daris is great. And it's me like, no, you don't think that. You don't feel that way. So
Mm-hmm.
anyway, stop letting that go, giving myself the credit and the kudos and the grace,
That's right.
right? And the self-care, knowing that that is the most important thing. Like they say, if you're on an airplane and the oxygen mask come down, I love that analogy. You got to take care of you first before you can help anybody. They
100%.
will tell you, don't
100%.
even, right?
Well, let
Don't
me
even put
ask.
the oxygen mask on your
Yeah,
kids. Put it on you first, because
right.
you can't. They can't do nothing without you.
Same thing in relationships. But let me ask you,
Yeah.
there might be somebody who's like, I bet Darice's divorces, she had one of them easy divorces, where they just went and signed, and agreed to divorce. It's okay. Your laugh to suggest that it was not, that they were
Ooh,
not that.
thank
Okay.
you for giving me the platform for this, Dr. Wilkins. So,
Mhm.
ladies, let me tell you, ooh, we as Black women are always told to have a secret. Well, I don't know. Let me not say that. A lot of times, women are told to have a second secret stash
Mhm.
because you don't never know what's gonna happen. And in
Mhm.
my second marriage, I was trying to be all like, I'm gonna do whatever they say. I'm not gonna hold back no secrets. I'm not gonna have a second stash. Why this man gave me 2 weeks notice, like he out, done. And I had no second stash. And this is also when I was building my business.
Oh,
So
please.
that might have been another reason I didn't have a second stash, because I gave up complete surrender financially, emotionally, right? Oh
You're
my God. I
all in.
moved down
You're
here
all
with my
in. Yeah.
geographically. Yeah. And yeah, the social media highlights look good, baby. I was doing Uber trying to make ends meet after that man left.
Mhm.
Okay. I was doing Airbnb. I had a roommate off of Craigslist that drove me crazy. Okay, because I was surrendering. That's what we were told to do, and not have extra money on the side. And this is what makes a happy couple. I will never ever in my life do that again.
Mm.
Ever.
Mm.
And a lot of people don't know that. So thank you for giving me the platform to be vulnerable
Oh, thank you
um,
for being vulnerable.
and transparent.
Mhm.
It was, man, there were days I was hoping the lights were still going to be on when I got home.
Yeah.
Do you
Yeah.
hear me?
Wow.
And I have never given that. So I don't know who needs to hear that. And I don't want to say, okay, lie and hide and don't have a stash or have a stash. You got to do what's right for you. I will always have a stash. And I'm saying that right now. I'm never going to give that up, because what I can say is that hurt me more. And people may agree or disagree with this. That hurt me more than cheating on me with a physical relationship,
Mm.
right? That I let my guard down for the first time in my life to be totally and completely financially dependent. And we were going through a rough patch. And literally, like, whole married. I came down here to Texas from Chicago. And he was like, I'm not going to pay the rent next month because I'm leaving.
Mm. Mm. Mm.
Baby, don't know
While you were building your business.
So, and then, okay, and not to be bashing, just to be
honest.
To answer your question, we in Texas. I come from Chicago. Texas is this whole shared property community stuff. And the business that I was building, he wanted to sue me for half of it in a divorce.
Whoa.
Again, not bashing, just telling the truth. Eventually, after a couple of years, he decided that we weren't going to do that. And to your point, Dr. Wilkins, it was simple after that. After the 2 years, we decided it was amicable. He didn't want to take the business. I kept on working because that adversity drove me, motivated me. And again, so let's look at it this way: the blessing in disguise with the optimism and the divine appointment that made me work harder on my business.
There you go.
And focus like nothing else. So what can I say? I created a multiple six-figure business.
Yes, I'm glad you are talking about the business because thriving. Why in what ways? I know you're thriving. I just heard a huge snippet. In what ways are you thriving, Daris? What's going on?
You say what's making me thrive?
Yeah, what's going on?
I feel like I know who I am. I've had the empty nest for a little while. I know who Daris is. I've been a mom, been a wife a couple times. But to have this space and place to be alone and be able to self-reflect and not have to worry about like what's for dinner. Seriously. But I feel like, and I don't know, because my story is flip-flop, right? I was a young mom and wife the first half of my life. I didn't have that space to be alone, and the grass always looked green on the other side, right? Married people say, woo, girl, be happy you're single. Single people be like, I want to be baby. But I feel like everybody needs time and space to be with themselves, to figure out who you are. And I love Daris. I'm a pretty cool chick. You know what I'm saying? Yes. I love my company. I love that I can figure out what I want to eat, or if I don't want to cook, or I've never had that kind of spontaneity. Another quick example, when I first had my empty nest, when my youngest went away to college, my girlfriend called, and this was actually during COVID. We was going crazy in 2020. Yeah. And she was like, I'm looking at these flights. You want to go? I was like, I sure do. And I don't have to check with anybody. I ain't got to make sure my son can get the basketball practice. I ain't got to go grocery shopping and make sure there's all this food in the house. I ain't got to worry about nobody but Daris. That would be a hell yes, a hard yes. So that spontaneity and freedom for the first time for me, even though this was mid-40s, was spectacular. And I think it's very necessary to love you and know who you are. Yes. That's why I feel like my energy is from. I can come and go as I want. Yes. I can do whatever I want for as long as I want, wherever I want. Because my business is work from home, right? So as long as I got this laptop, it's some strong internet, baby.
You're good. You're good. So,
I hear that. I'm gonna ask if anybody invite me anywhere. Is there internet?
How's the internet? Yep. And so what I hear is that you're thriving because you're luxuriating in love with yourself.
I am. And
luxuriating
what
love
I
with
am, and I love that word. Okay.
people. Yeah, it's not a lot of people that can like look at this moment in time or a moment in time and be like, I am just leaning in. I think that's the soft life. That everybody wants to talk about living a soft life. I think that is the
Mm.
definition of softness is when you can lean back in love with yourself.
Yes.
Like you're good. And so, okay, I ask all of my guests this
Uh-oh.
advice. If
Yes.
there is someone listening, watching this podcast, and
Mm-hmm.
like here's what you're saying is loving what you're saying, a lot of things are resonating, what advice would you give to them?
I would go back to the gratitude. Every morning that you wake up, you find at least 5 things that you can be grateful for. And I don't care if it's as small as we got bacon today. I don't care. It does because there's an energy, right? We are all energy. I'm not a physics major or anything, but I know that we are all energy, and the energy that we put out is what we get back,
Facts.
right? Not to go way off, and sound Pollyanna-ish, but I do believe that when I'm grateful, I can feel the difference. If I am having a bad moment, I will stop and do some coping mechanisms with breathing. Just release, right? Just release whatever stress, because it's not even real,
Yeah.
right? That stress is self-imposed most of the time for most people. I'm not a therapist. There may be some other physical differences and that I'm not even versed in, but I know when I'm feeling stressed, it's like, okay, let's just breathe,
That's right.
right?
Yeah.
And in the morning, just be grateful. Get that book, The Magic Rhonda Byrne.
Yes.
She has it's structured. So if you need structure like I do, she will tell you and give you ideas on what to be grateful for.
Mm.
Everything from relationships to money. I just love that book because it was one exercise where you go out in your backyard or wherever you are, wherever you can, outside, and you say thank you.
Mm. Powerful.
And you say it for like, but here's no, you say it, I think it was 50 times. You walk and you say, thank you. Thank
Wow.
you for the grass. Thank you for the air. Thank you for the man that built this fence. Thank you for the water that comes through my plumbing when I turn the switch.
Yeah.
Do we think about the infrastructure and how many people and how many resources it took to bring me cold water?
Yeah.
What? I mean, I'm getting ghost pimples right now, right?
Yes. Yes.
It's the things the food, how does that food get on your table? Okay, thank the Uber Eats guy, but think about everybody else involved in that whole orchestrated effort to give us everything we need.
Mm. Yes. So, there is, so my spiritual religious home is Christianity. And rooted in that is the idea that when praises go up, blessings come down. And
Yes, ma'am.
so, that from my, spiritual religious home, that's spiritually and religiously grounded, right? And
Mhm.
so, the life notes per Daris Frencha is be grateful. Be
Yeah.
grateful. Daris, you have been wonderful.
Oh my gosh, thank you so much.